Hello everyone, I'm Kibitz and welcome to this Satisfactory tutorial, where today I'll show you how to build this epic steel foundry design that I like to call the Steel Engine. And this awesome looking machine uses 6 foundries and takes 270 coal and raw iron and produces 270 steel per minute, using the default steel recipe. So it looks cool, works extremely well, and is super nice to make in the mid-game when you first get steel, because everything is built around Mark III 270 belts. But anyway, you guys asked for a tutorial on this a little while ago when we first built it in one of our playthroughs, and now I'll show you exactly how to build it in your own world, so remember to leave a like. But let's get started.
Diddly-diddly-diddly-diddly-doo.
So first off, you're gonna need just a little bit of space here. The design is extremely compact. It only uses 4 tiles lengthwise, and then 3 tiles widthwise. Just remember you're gonna need some space on the sides, about half a tile as well, for extra belts. And also, you're gonna have to have the foundation frames unlocked, which you can unlock through coupons in the Awesome Shop, because they are critical to the design here. But if you have those, you just wanna stack 4 of these frames on top of each other, make them 4 deep, and then you want to have the small foundations, the 8 by 1 meters, on the first foundation frame, and then on the very top foundation frame. Because if you're using them, you can put in the foundries right in the middle. So you can put in 6 foundries into this design. I usually like to have 3 per side, so 1 just in the middle of the first platform, the second right lined up, right in between the platforms here, and then the third right on the end. And then repeat to the other side. Then you're also gonna wanna add in a few splitters. So the splitter entrance has to be facing this direction here. So this is the entrance, and all of the exits are going into the middle here. So you want 1 splitter in this position. So that's the second foundation in the top right quadrant. And then just for an aerial view, it needs to be about placed there. So you have that 1 little line in front, and this side is just touching the edge of the foundation. Then, on the bottom, you want another splitter, oriented the same way. So this is the entrance, except this one is going to be on the 3rd foundation in the top left quadrant, except you can build it a little bit closer for convenience. So it is right nudged up on the corner of the foundation. And then you copy those splitters on both sides. And the next step is the fun part, adding in all of the belts, because this is how you get this machine looking spicy. But the belt work can be pretty annoying as well, because what you have to do is you have to build this tiny little belt right in the middle here. So this comes after. First, you place this directly onto the middle of the foundation and the foundation frame. So you have this. Then you have to get a conveyor lift and bring it down, and if positioned correctly, it'll line up right with one of the entrances of the foundries. So the left entrance of the foundry. And you want the conveyor lift on the left side of the foundry so you can see the conveyor lifts very clearly from the front of the machine, because that looks freaking cool, brother. And then once you do bring it down, it doesn't connect directly to the foundry here. So it's really important that you add in the belt to connect the lift to the foundry itself. This can be a little finicky, but if you aim it just right, you can get that belt in there. Then for the other foundries though, the process is pretty much the same. You just bring out the belt to about this point, the midpoint of the first foundation, have it turn, and have the next little conveyor pull right on the edge again. Bring another conveyor lift down, and connect it up to the foundry. You do the same thing on the end, and then you do the same thing on the other side here. Once you're finished with that though, you do need to bring the coal or iron up here. So you're gonna bring a belt from the entrance and drag it out right to the edge of the first platform, just like you've been doing with the other belts. And then with it just on the edge, you can attach a conveyor lift, bring that baby down, and you're good to go. Now for aligning this up to a nice height, I usually have these conveyor splitters here, so you don't have to have them in the final product, but it's very convenient for getting a good height, because now we know exactly which height to go to with it, and we don't have to fiddle with it later. But now that we're down here, we need to hook up the belts here as well. So you're gonna have your splitter, you're gonna wanna bring your belt over from somewhere in front into this splitter, but things are gonna be a little different down here, because what you wanna do is you wanna build your conveyor lifts first, before adding in the belts. So it'll look like this. You'll just have an empty little square here. It'll look a little like, bruh, what's going on? And you'll probably have to jump into the second foundation. Then you'll just want to have the lift on the ground, right next to the foundry, and line it up with the entrance. So you do that. You'll have to hook up that little belt boy in there, just like so. And then, because this splitter is closer to the foundation, you just go from A to B. It's all lined up and looking spicy. Then of course you copy that to the other side and boom, you have done the hardest part. Dealing with all of the belt work in the foundation frames there takes forever. So once you get through that, just look forward to moving and grooving. You're almost done. In fact, the next step is starting to deal with the outputs, which is a little complicated. So I'll explain it as best I can here. You're gonna wanna do 2 steps. Number 1, now pay attention to this. If you've been following how I've been building this, you're gonna wanna build a conveyor pull that goes 1 notch and then 2 notches up. So it is exactly right there. It's just above the conveyor lift. And that's because once you have that conveyor pull, you wanna go to the side here and go to the furthest foundry. From there, you'll wanna connect from the furthest foundry all the way to that conveyor pull. So it looks something like this. If you placed it on the line there correctly at the right height, it'll be a very nice straight line that you can work with. So there you go, easy peasy. And then also on this step, you're gonna wanna build this structure. So another 2 conveyor pulls in the middle of this platform, and you're gonna wanna go up the 2 notches like you did with the other conveyor pull. Build 2 of them, just like so. The distances don't particularly matter, but you need to have the belt in between them be facing in this direction. So it's facing out that way. That'll be important for the next step. Because what you wanna do now is you wanna add on a merger right onto the belt. And since the belt is facing in that direction, the exit point for the merger will be in that direction as well. So you wanna place that in line with the other few conveyor pulls you made. So just kinda eyeball it, try as best you can. And then you connect up those other pulls right into the middle here. And in doing this, you've merged all of the outputs of the entire steel engine into one place. Just the only other quick thing you have to do is add on the mergers to the side here, because since we have a nice straight belt, you have just enough room to put a merger right in front of the output there. You have to be real careful to line them up perfectly, because then you have to add in a tiny, tiny belt right in between. And if you're off by a bit, it probably won't connect. So be really careful with this step. Like, look at this. That's too far off. Yeah, very, very precise work. So like that is pretty much perfect at that point. So there we go. Hook that baby up. You'll see it's blue. And there you are. You just have to do this process on the other side. And then that is all of your outputs done. And then it's just figuring out what to do with the outputs. Now personally, what I like to do is I like to have a conveyor lift that goes down and back into the machine, because there's gonna be just enough space to fit the belt going right in behind here. Oops. Right in behind to here. And personally, I think that looks really cool, and it really adds to the look of the front of the machine here. But of course, you can do whatever you want, because we're just about done here. Then the last thing you have to deal with is the wires. So I usually put a power pole right in this position here and mirrored on the other side, like the rest of this build. And then I build power poles in between the foundries in these positions. So You just hook it up and wire it up however you want. There's a little bit of wire clipping, but honestly, you're getting this look, brother. So I think it's worth a little bit of wire clipping. But then finally, you are done. You can clean up the inputs however you like, and off to the races you go. But a quick tip with this machine, for load balancing purposes, I'd recommend getting 270 iron and 270 coal. Because what you can do, which is extremely convenient, is you can just set up a splitter here. You can connect those splitters just to the input lines that are both on the sides here now. And in doing so, the 270 lines are perfectly distributed between all the machines, meaning this is a 100% efficient system. 270 goes in all at once, and then 270 goes out all at once. So again, this is pretty much a perfect build for the mid-game. Super convenient with the Mark III 270 belts. It works really well, it's super efficient, and man oh man, it's a cool thing to have around your base. Anyway though, that is all for this little tutorial here. So if you guys enjoyed, please remember to leave a like. And if you want to see some more inspirational builds like this, that, or this other thing, be sure to subscribe. And if you want to watch me live, I'm live 3 times a week on Twitch on Sundays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, starting at 9 AM PDT. But again, that's all. So have a fantastic rest of your day, and bye-bye.